So, dear delegates, Mr. Tim Boyd, Mrs. Lily, it's a real pleasure and honor for me to be invited to present our first speaker for the first day of this new year, 2026 year. I'll be brief. I just want to wish you Happy New Year, Happy New 2026 year, and wishing joy and inner presence. And I pursue, my English is not so good, then I will be brief. Our first speaker will be Mrs. Catalina Isaza Cantor. Her talk, One Life, Many Paths. International speakers, Theosophical Society, Colombia, Adyar resident, author, poet, translator, editor, international lecturer of the Theosophical Society, based at its headquarters in Adyar, India, since 2019. Born in Colombia and naturally drawn to global cultures and ideas, she joined the Theosophical Society in 2006. Inspired by her parents' spiritual path and their shared exploration of sacred wisdom from many traditions. Becoming a member felt less like a beginning and more like a return home. At Adyar, Catalina serves as secretary of the School of the Wisdom and helps shape international conventions and media outreach. She has served on the Theosophical Society Colombian board, coordinated the roundtable, supported youth groups internationally for more than 15 years, and was part of the first board of the revitalized World Federation of Young Theosophists from 2022 till 2024. A lifelong volunteer, she continues to support intergenerational and intercultural theosophical work. She holds an honors degree in literature, a PG diploma in cultural management, and a master's in education. Her professional journey spans teaching, television, cultural projects, translation, and publishing. She edits Selección Teosófica, Colombian TS magazine, and co-founded the multilingual YouTube channel, Pragia TS Studio, with her husband, Shikar. She deeply believes in the transformative power of small acts of love and service. Then, let us receive Catalina.
Now? Yes. Good morning, namaste to everyone here gathered in this sacred space of Adyar. President Tim Boyd, Mrs. Lily Boyd, and all of you, sisters and brothers that join here and those online listening to us right now from different corners of the world. thank you for being here, and it's a pleasure and an honor for me to join this special celebration of 150 years of the Theosophical movement. I want to thank Benoit for his thoughtful introduction. Thank you very much, and say how truly honored I feel to share the stage with Robert. Standing together here on the first day of the year is truly an honor, made even more meaningful as we celebrate this 150th anniversary, which is a reminder that real growth unfolds patiently through time. A new year always brings shared beginning, and 2026 invites us to move forward with a sense of unity and fresh purpose. And I mean, with this numerology thing, I realized 2026 resumes in one. And one is a very meaningful number. It's a number of beginnings, of togetherness, forward movement. So I guess that energy we can carry through all the 2026. And maybe the months ahead offer to all of us opportunities to learn, to grow, to serve, to connect with our higher purpose, guided by the inspiration that our convention team will give us during these days that come ahead. One world, one life, the spirit of a new humanity. Before continuing, before starting on the subject, I want to ask you to make a moment of silence. If you feel so, you can close your eyes, otherwise there is no need, whatever you feel more comfortable. And just let us visualize this connection that all of us share, heart to heart, beyond distances, beyond languages, beyond cultures, beyond anything. Together, let us rest in gratitude for being here, for a new beginning, for a new cycle, together with a purpose in common. Let's just stay for some seconds in this feeling of connection and gratitude. Thank you. Well, whenever I'm given the duty of delivering a talk, a familiar thought arises. What I'm about to say has maybe surely been said before, maybe more beautifully, maybe more wisely. So why to say it again? And especially to an audience like you, who have long reflected on deep topics. Then I think of the great Argentine writer. Maybe some of you know him or have read him. Otherwise, I recommend highly to read him. Jorge Luis Borges. He believed that literature does not invent new metaphors, but returns to ancient ones, such as life as a dream, time as a river, etc. For him, repetition was not a flaw, but a source of meaning. What changes is the tone, the context, the emphasis. He said that creativity lies not in novelty, but in reinterpretation, in joining an ongoing dialogue across time that has been started from the beginning of time and continues, expanding and being enriched. And a similar idea was expressed by a Mahatma, who reminded us that truths are never owned. They are drawn from the universe's great treasury, and our task as writers or speakers in this case, it is simply to give them a form and pass them on. While deep wisdom and life are one, We inhabit a world of many paths, and each of us connects to truth in a unique way. Every voice matters because each voice reveals that shared truth, because each voice reveals that shared truth in a different tone, and often by listening to other voices, we discover that our voices can resonate together. And that is exactly what I invite you to reflect on as we consider the topic, One Life, Many Paths. Beneath our many traditions, cultures, beliefs, and personal journeys, there is a single current of life flowing through us all. Each path has its own language and symbols, yet all point to the same essential truth. What differs is not the destination, but how each of us walks, listens, understands, and expresses that path. Let us explore this together. We might pause here and turn our attention inward, shall we? If life is truly one, where do we meet it? Only within ourselves? Or also beyond that thing that we usually call me or I? Do we choose our path? Or are we in some subtle way chosen by life itself as one of its many expressions? As roles change and identities come and go, what is it that quietly remains? And beneath these many paths, could there be one living presence, one awareness, discovering itself through each of us? Well, if we allow these questions to settle, they gently invite us to shift our gaze from the surface of events to the depth from which they arise. We see this shift in everyday life and in world events. An online argument, a cultural tension at work, a political conflict between nations, all of them may seem separate, but all of them grow from the same place. How we see ourselves and how we see others. The climate crisis, for instance, it shows this in a very clear way. What we do in one place affects the life everywhere. When we look beneath events to what gives rise to them, personal reflection opens into a wider understanding of one living through many paths. From this point, we can explore this not only as a human experience, but as a universal pattern, visible in our biographies and echoed in philosophy, science, art, and spiritual insight, of course, where a single essence unfolds through countless forms, perspective, and stories in order to know itself more fully. Because diversity is the signature of the universe. The way the one becomes visible in the many, and this is shown in the Secret Doctrine, when it describes the dawn on manifestation as a primordial stirring, saying that the last vibration of the seventh eternity thrills to infinitude. From that first movement, light awakens within darkness. A single ray enters the depths, and multiplicity begins. Not as a separation, but as unity unfolding into form. This is, if we think about it, if we're trying to visualize, this is beautiful. This is like the whole journey expressed in few words is really deep. So from this first gesture, the one with capital O expresses itself as many without losing its wholeness. Each begin and each path carries a unique tone of the same source. Like the rays from one sun lighting of one sun light different parts of existence. The stanza 3 of the Secret Doctrine describes this unfolding, and it says, from 1 to 4 and from 4 to 7, not as a break from unity, but as consciousness expressing itself in itself. And in this view, diversity is how existence itself speaks. But ironically, it is precisely here that misunderstanding arises. When difference is taken as an absolute, it hardens into separateness, giving birth to the sense of being divided, isolated, or opposed. And of course, as human beings, we all are looking for a sense of who we are, or identity. And when we lose our touch with our deeper source, our likes and dislikes quietly become our sense of self. So we tend to build our identity by what we feel attracted to or what we reject, by our desires, by all this movement of the lower self, and that's why we create our sense of identity. So we begin to identify strongly to things like gender, race, culture, nationality, beliefs, social roles, and I could keep going. And while these differences are expressions in the manifestation, in the manifested plane of our diversity, they can also turn into lines of division. And this happens, as I mentioned, when we mistake what is temporary from who we truly are and forget the deeper identity that we all share. And in fact, with this apparent division lies a profound opportunity. Just as matter differentiates in order to take form, consciousness seems to split so it can know itself. Separation becomes then a functional stage that is useful to make awareness possible and to allow unity to be discovered consciously. To know itself, the one must experience itself as the many. This is the movement of evolution. Consciousness moving outward into life, then inward into remembrance. When it returns, it is not the same as before. We could say that the circle closes with awareness, shaped by everything that has been lived and learned. When we look at the human life from this perspective, our individual stories no longer appear isolated or accidental. Instead, each life becomes a chapter in a much larger narrative. a moment in an ongoing exploration of being. What we call one life is, in truth, a single movement within a greater rhythm. And from this perspective of reincarnation, even this one life is not truly singular, but one expression among many opportunities of rebirth, each a unique unfolding of the same monadic essence. Seen this way, no experience is wasted. Every single effort, every lesson learned quietly shapes what follows, carrying the wisdom of the many back into the one. This is why unity unfolds through countless individual journeys, each shaped by temperament, experience, and of course, inner calling. As Gerard de Puruker expresses it so clearly in his book, The Golden Precepts of Esotericism, he says, "The path to the heart of the universe is one and yet different for every human being. The meaning is that all human beings themselves are that pathway which is built of thought and consciousness and of the fabric of our own being, built on the stuff of nature's heart. This is the road of long, enduring, slow evolution, moving ahead little by little in each life through the incalculable ages." We often grow up shaped by social and material expectations, believing that there is one right path, where life should move in a clear, straight line towards fixed goals. But let's be honest, how many lives truly unfold that way? Most of our lives are marked by pauses, changes, and unexpected turns. The plans shift, certainties fade, and new directions always appear. And this is not failure, we could think from the materialistic point of view. It is simply life as it is, changing, impermanent, ever unfolding. As Clara Cott reminds us in this beautiful small booklet full of wisdom that is called Trust Yourself to Life, and here I'm paraphrasing. She says that life does not ask for rigid beliefs or fixed paths, that it asks for a living trust, not conformity to an external pattern, but an inward listening and a honest response to life as it reveals itself. Meaning, then, is not born from perfect planning, but from presence, from meeting life as it arrives, with openness, with courage, and with attentive awareness. To live one life, this body, this name, this passing story, is to stand when past and present meet. Much of what we experience in this life is already in motion, shaped by earlier actions, words, and thoughts. And now it is unfolding through circumstances, losses, and unexpected meetings and partings, to name just some of them. These conditions are not meant to fix our future. In every moment, there is a quiet freedom, and it is how we respond, which direction we take, and how we decide our story to continue. Our lives are shaped by small, quiet choices as much as big ones. The intentions we act from, the thoughts we keep, a simple yes or not, say in a specific moment. Each choice leaves its mark and opens learning, limits, or new possibilities. We align with a deeper order through the apparently smallest action, but they are not as small as they seem. Like when we decide to listen with care to another person or to life itself, helping without seeking credit, choosing kindness over other feelings or behaviors, and many others. These acts may not change the world at once, but they change the inner ground where transformation begins. Like a single candle that is lit in a dark room. It doesn't give the room immediately the light, but it alters the atmosphere of the room. So this is the power of small, conscious, and loving actions that we choose on our daily life. And along the way, we begin to see that none of us is just one thing. Each of us carries many roles: friend, seeker, student, teacher, family member. At different times, some come forward while others rest, making room for new growth. This is the natural rhythm of a full life, meeting each moment with care and openness, and allowing life to shape us from within. But none of this happens in isolation. We are all connected. And we can see this unity across many fields. In science, disciplines may appear separate depending on the object of study, but each of them are exploring the same reality from a different angle. In art, for instance, a painter works with color and form, a musician with sound and silence, a poet with words, but all of their inspirations and work respond to a shared inner impulse to express meaning and experience. The same pattern runs through humanity's great traditions, like religion, philosophy, or science. All of them speak in different ways. Science observes, philosophy reflects, and religion shares lived wisdom. But they all come from the same question: who are we, and what is this life that we share? And if each human being is the path, then an essential question naturally arises. How do we walk this path consciously and authentically? How do we move forward without losing ourselves in borrowed certainties, external authorities, or ready-made answers? Well, the wisdom traditions speak with remarkable consistency. The journey begins inward, with discernment and fidelity to our own deepest truth. Before action comes clarity. Before movement, inner alignment. This is why ancient teachings place such emphasis on the very first step. And as the voice of the silence advises, we must learn to discern the real from the unreal, and to distinguish head learning from soul wisdom, reminding us that transformation begins not with knowledge alone, but with awakened understanding. To walk the path, then, is not to imitate another's footsteps, but to beautifully be faithful to oneself, to listen honestly to one's own higher call, and to align our thoughts, feelings, words, actions with that inner recognition. Authenticity is not isolation, it's the foundation that allows true relationship and genuine unity to emerge. And when we see it this way, our many cultures, beliefs, stories don't divide us. They show the richness of the shared life. We live on one world deeply connected with what ones do affect the whole. That raises a simple but urgent question: how do we live together? Surely not by erasing our difference, because they form part of the way that lives manifest in this plane, but through cooperation. We cannot ask for uniformity, but we can use the cooperation by taking responsibility for one another, for future generation, and for the living planet that we share. Cooperation then is more than a practical choice. It becomes a way of living, a recognition that we belong to one another, the fraternity. When we see cooperation every day, we can think of some examples like scientists sharing data across borders, neighbors helping after disasters, communities supporting those in need, and we can keep thinking of how cooperation really manifests and is used in many fields across our existence. And it's something that is not abstract, but is how shared life takes care of itself. Cooperation lies at the heart of life, unfolding through what is often called the divine plan. Not a fixed script, but a living, intelligent movement. Life expresses itself through different kingdoms and planes, mineral, plant, human, and beyond, moving through physical, mental, and spiritual and subtle levels of existence. Each level grows from the one before it and supports the whole. Nothing evolves in isolation. Whether in nature, in consciousness, or in the wider universe, but everything evolves through cooperation. As Geoffrey Barborca invites us to reflect upon, everything within the universe must partake of that divine plan. The part must follow the same pattern that the whole follows. Cooperation then is not just a social or ethical choice. It is a spiritual law of life, calling us to take part in this large movement with awareness. As Clara Cole reminds us, life does not move in straight lines, but in cycles of growth, pause, and renewal. Seeing this helps us be gentler with change in ourselves and in others, and to move more naturally with life's rhythms. Fraternity does not require sameness or agreement. It grows through difference and can hold contradictions without breaking. Like an orchestra, where each instrument has its own voice and harmony is born from attentive listening and mutual respect. This understanding gives meaning to the mission of the Theosophical Society, to serve humanity by cultivating an ever-deepening understanding and realization of the ageless wisdom, a spiritual self-transformation, and the unity of all life. It is not only about studying ideas, but to embody them in awareness, choice, and action. When unity is truly understood, service becomes natural, and compassion becomes intelligence in action. We live in a time of rapid change and deep connection, but also real division, social, digital, ecological, and more. So unity shouldn't be anymore just an idea. It is a practical need. We meet this need in everyday moments. How we listen to those who differ from us, how we use technology, and how we care for one another and the living earth. Each conscious choice to listen instead of react, to cooperate rather than compete, to care rather than consume, becomes a small act of healing. This is the deeper meaning of one life, many paths. Each of us walks a unique path shaped by experience and history, yet none of us walks alone. What we choose on our path always touches the whole. And perhaps this is the quiet invitation of our time, to walk our own path with integrity, while never forgetting the life we share. If one life truly flows through us all, then every step, every path matters. In choosing how we walk today, here, together, we shape not only our individual journeys, but the future of our shared world. Let us remember that we are not our thoughts, but divine wisdom. We are not our desires or feelings, but universal will and love. Remember that there are many paths, but a single goal: union with the divine, a return to the source, carrying the gifts of the journey. Let us finish this reflection with a simple reminder, offered not as a conclusion, but as an invitation. One life, many paths. Walk yours, and you walk for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Catalina, for your nice and precious talk for the new year.